Fellas, I don't know why every week I got to come in here and talk to y'all about this. Why is WWE so worried about AEW if they're the big juggernaut? Kiddo, can you please pull up the article so I can let y'all know what I'm talking about? So Tony Khan was on a media call, and let's just read the post. Tony Khan on today's Ring of Honor DVD media call said he's heard WWE PR people are spreading lies about his TV rights deal with Warner Brothers Discovery and that it's none of their business. So just a little background on the situation. Apparently, WWE is telling people AEW already signed, sealed, delivered, and closed their TV deal, and they ended up getting the same amount they got last time. Let's read Tony Khan's direct words he spoke. I don't know why WWE is telling people about our media rights deal. I don't know whether it's any of their business. I don't really understand why WWE PR calls people and talks about my business. WWE PR is telling people that the deal is done and that the deal is done at the same level that it was going on our previous deal. That's not the case. It's none of their business. I think WWE PR really gets involved in a lot of things they shouldn't get involved in. I can tell you that this is very untrue. When we make a deal for AEW, it's going to be a great deal with a big increase over what we've been doing. Now, Jonathan Coachman also commented on this, and we'll get to Jonathan Coachman's comments, but Brian, you're the guy who always says AEW needs to keep WWE out of their mouth. They need to focus on their business. Why are they always worried about WWE? So I got to turn the question back to you again. Why is WWE always worried about what AEW is doing?
AEW started it, bro. You know what I'm saying? They started it, man. They just playing their own game, man, you know? But nah, in all seriousness, bro, I mean, bro, the bigger company is always going to try to control the narrative. It don't matter what we looking at. Let's be honest, though. Like, I'm not even speaking from a tribalist standpoint, none of that. Like, if you're the bigger company and you see that there's a company on the up and coming, wouldn't you try to control the narrative from the beginning?
No, because when you acknowledge that smaller company, then you make them a thing. This makes me think that WWE is actually worried about AEW in some way because you're just constantly in the background, just like sending out the Fast Nationals every week. They're in the background like attacking AEW where nobody else can see it. So why are you so worried about them? If you're the big company, you need to worry about what you're doing, and these little companies will fade away, just like TNA did, just like, WCW wasn't a big, small company, but they did end up fading away. But it just seems to me like WWE is more focused on AEW than they have been focused on anybody else. And you're right. AEW was attacking them at first. I mean, it was Cody Rhodes, though. He went out there first and smashed Triple H's throne. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I just don't get it.
I think...
Fair enough.
I think it's a Triple H thing. Because under the rule of Vince McMahon, they didn't really talk about TNA. Sure, I'm sure they did some, like, underhanded moves. Maybe... I remember, like, them... having talks about like, oh, should
they could have, and nobody called them out for it.
True. It's same with AEW. Like the most thing I've seen about WWE and AEW was, I guess, Chris Jericho coming out there, but like that was weird. That was like an anomaly. Then Sami Zayn talked about AEW while Vince McMahon was still in power. You know. Other than that, what else did we have about AEW? It was Triple H all the time. Talking about this pissant company. He said this t-shirt company, Triple H all the time. And now that Vince is gone, well, he has pretty much the full reins to do whatever he wants to do. And I think...
At our Big H.
Yeah, I think this is a lot of his influence seeping in. That's what I'm seeing at least.
Kato, you are completely right because Vince McMahon apparently wasn't worried about AEW. When he sent Sami Zayn out to the ring, I think they were expecting one of the smart fans to ask him about AEW. So Vince McMahon sent him out there to do that, but the fans didn't ask him. So Sami Zayn said, oh man, I really wanted this. And that's when he brought it up.
Yeah,
we think about Chris Jericho going to the Steve Austin show and talking, just AEW stuff. Yeah. It seems like Vince McMahon was not worried about it. But I think Triple H is holding a grudge because NXT lost to AEW when they were both on Wednesday nights. And at that time, Triple H was running NXT, and Vince McMahon snatched it away from him after that happened. So I think you might be on to something.
NXT 2.0, baby. But
that was terrible.
Yeah. Shall we get on to what Coach has said about this?
Ooh, let's go ahead and get on to Jonathan Coachman's comment, who kind of crashed out a little bit. Brian, can you read this for us? Because I do not feel like reading again.
Let me translate this for everyone. We asked for more money. They told us no. We are still trying, but they are focused on the NBA rights deal. There's a good chance we are forced to take less because WBD has executives with eyes and they realize no one is even remotely no one else is even remotely wants to do a deal so they can get it for far less. So this is basically kind of like, I assume he's just assuming in
Yeah,
this
he's
case,
assuming.
because
He's
he
pretty
put it in
much trying to.
parentheses, am I close?
Hmm.
And I mean, we don't know anything, but could that very well much be the case?
You know what? I think it can be the case because there's some crazy stuff going on right now with this NBA deal
I
and
think that's their
WBD.
priority, bro.
Yeah,
That's their
that's their
priority.
priority for
Because
sure.
they do that and they're losing a big chunk of money, big chunk of money from the NBA. Like, you are losing one of the biggest sports leagues in the world. I mean, it's NFL and then NBA. That's just what it is. So if that does come to shove, I think they're worried about that right now. And AEW comes after. I think they're just trying to make sure that they can lock down the NBA.
Yeah. And apparently they're doing everything they can to lock it down. Now, I don't know too much about the NBA situation, but I heard they said like we're like WBD didn't match the Amazon deal, so we'll be going to Amazon. And then WBD said, "Wait a minute, we did match the Amazon deal. Y'all ain't going nowhere. We can't wait to see you next season." And apparently NBA still tried to move on to the Amazon deal, so WB ended up suing them. It's a big crazy situation now. I think the reason Tony Khan has not locked in this AEW deal does have a lot to do with this NBA deal, because think about it. If WBD somehow does lose the NBA, they will be losing a lot of money, but that's also going to open up that budget a lot more. So they're going to have a lot more money to play with. And AEW is for sure going to be like, well, you got this money hanging on there. Let me get some of that.
Exactly.
But another thing the coach is saying here is WBD is saying, listen, nobody is going to pay y'all as much as we're paying y'all right now. So we're not budging. This is what you're going to get. Either take it or leave it. So, I mean, that NBA deal is it's going to mean a lot. If they sign it, AEW might be cooked. If they don't sign it, that could be gold for them.
I mean, I don't know. How much does it affect AEW when you think about it? Like WBD, the reason why they're so popular, not just because of one thing, that is the NBA, I'm sure, but I'm also sure that NBA helps a lot, right? It's the freaking NBA.
Right.
But how many people then watch NBA and then run into AEW and say, "I'm gonna watch this"? I don't know. This whole situation, I always get confused with this. I'm pretty sure you two understand this way more than I do. The way I look at it is just corporations going crazy. But I would hope WBD would keep NBA. And what I'm really surprised at is I look at the video game front of this a lot, and I just see WBD kind of crying and closing a lot of studios, basically just spending a lot of money. And I've always heard narratives that they're losing money. Right? How are they doing this right now? Are they messing with the NBA still, offering a lot of money to AEW? It's confusing to me. I'll be honest with you, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, they got big hits and they got big misses. Like Mortal Kombat is a big hit that makes them a lot of money.
Right.
Hogwarts Legacy stays on the charts. That was a big hit that makes them a lot of money. But Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League lost them a lot of money.
Yeah, you're right.
They just closed NetherRealm Studios, their mobile game company, but then they bought the company that makes that multiverses. So I don't know. They're moving kind of strange and moving their money around in all kind of different places. So I have no idea. I think they're kind of just directionless right now, and they don't know what to do.
So is there a possibility that they might go out of business? Or is that not even...
Well, that was a thing where they were so much in debt that they were like considering bankruptcy, which doesn't necessarily take the company out of business at times. It's more like they're just kind of admitting that they can't pay it. So they have to settle for something else. But at that point, I don't know what's going to happen with them, man. What's happening right now is very, very interesting with WBD, because they went from being in so much debt and not having money to all of a sudden matching the NBA deal. That threw me off alone, honestly.
Well, this says Warner Brothers Discovery long-term debt for the quarter ending in March 31st, 2024 was $39.14 billion. It was a decline, though. It says a decline year over year, so they got some of their money back. Last year, they were at 41.8. So, I mean,
Jesus.
$39 billion is still a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
41.
they got to make the
31.
smart decisions right now. So I don't know if they're going to be
Keeping
just
the
throwing
NBA
money
is
to
what's going to keep
AEW.
them relevant, though. I'll be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, like
You want to keep people on your network, you get the NBA no matter what it costs. I would let AEW go. Obviously, that's not what you want to see, but if it means I get the NBA, you got to pull the trigger.
I look at it as like if I'm AEW and NBA is gone, how am I like? I'm scared now. What is gonna happen to my show if I'm locked into this network? I'll be looking to get out of it any way I can. Like,
You're
but
right.
then
I
again,
mean,
I
it
don't
could
know
be
too much about
positive.
business, of course, to
Yeah,
that
it could
level.
be positive and negative because with NBA going, it does open up their wallets a lot more, and they're going to need AEW more. Like, okay, we lost NBA, we need something. AEW is weekly TV, so would you want to invest more in that, or would the NBA loss just hurt them to
Man,
the point where they're sinking under? So
there
you're
are
right, it could go either way.
more questions. Like think about the TKO and WWE dynamic. Like at any time, TKO can say, "Okay, we own you. We're gonna go ahead and get much more involved in this." And maybe our execs don't know anything about wrestling, but we don't care.
Yeah.
If say NBA went away, AEW is now the main focus there. That's the flagship for whatever reason when it comes to their sports, let's say, and live stream stuff or like catch live stuff. Wait, whatever. Wouldn't you think that the top brass would want to get involved more so that they can, in their own hand, guarantee, a success? Like it just, oh my God, it's crazy. Like
Right.
so,
That's
it can go
bad.
so many ways.
You're right. That'll be bad. But I don't know. All I know is this: WWE, mind y'all's damn business.